season of Defiance was a major drop in narrative quality on Bungie's part, while being an excellent step forward in terms of the actual seasonal gameplay loop. The story has good moments, but overall it's a mess of confusing and rushed plot lines that try and win over the audience on the backs of nostalgic characters and locations. This season is framed as the second front of the war effort. While we're on the offensive in the Lightfall campaign on Neptune, Defiance is about defending Earth and freeing civilians that the Shadow Legion has captured. With our base of operations now on the farm, which has definitely seen better days, we have a couple of old faces taking the lead on this resistance. Crow, Mithrax, Marasov, and Devrim K, who has been completely irrelevant to the story since 2017. Joining after we rescue them in the first mission is Amanda Holliday, who had been captured after crash landing during Lightfall's opening cutscene. To Defiance's credit, it is this cast of characters that initially had me excited for this season. Crow and Amanda's back and forth banter in cutscenes, the depiction of major bonding moments between Devrim and Mithrax, Crow, and Zavala in the new Sightlines lorebook, even Amanda and Mithrax sharing a drink as she talks about her past. It's the content of this flashback and the core idea within that had the promise to make this a uniquely, narratively compelling season. Amanda tells Mithrax the story of how she came to the last city. She grew up on the road with her parents, working their way to the last city as refugees, to somewhere they could be safe, and seeing these ships flying past her, she always dreamed of living that life. But eventually, she loses her mother to a fallen attack, her father to pneumonia, and despite hearing stories of the light's ability to resurrect, she had to say goodbye to them for good. By herself, she reached the safety of the city and became that pilot she always wanted to be, realizing she didn't need the powers of the light to be able to make a difference. And it's that idea that was so gripping to me about this season. Almost always our narratives are focused around guardians, those with superhuman abilities and the power to resurrect. But in the Destiny world, guardians are really the minority. Devrim, Amanda, countless unnamed soldiers, civilians, Elixni, Cabal, they are all mortal. They only have one life to give. The danger is so much more present for them than it is for us. There is a dialogue during one of the battlegrounds that I particularly enjoyed. It is Crow complimenting Devrim's skills, asking Devrim to join him in the field more often. But Devrim reminds him that's awfully dangerous for someone with no light. The idea that guardians sometimes forget that most people can't resurrect, that they take for granted the lives of those helping them. It's very compelling, and it's something that I think Bungie failed to explore on a deeper level, instead bringing it to the easiest and most obvious conclusion, the death of Amanda Holliday. I'm not even saying it was wrong to kill Amanda off, but as can be seen with the community sentiment, doing it in a seasonal narrative where we could all see it coming in such a rushed fashion is honestly a disservice to a character that has been with us since 2014. It felt like it was for shock value, to clean up a character they weren't sure how to use anymore. And the wild thing is, I think they nailed the writing for other character reactions and mourning to this. Crow hitting us with,
"Then tell me who she was."
She was a sunrise.
I mean, our boy Crow's been through so much. How could they do him like that? And Zavala, well, this death, of course not to any fault of Bungie, felt uncomfortable in a meta sort of way, as it came mere days after the tragic passing of Lance Reddick, who not only gave so much to this community, but was one of us himself, not just Zavala, but a guardian in his own right. And we were presented with just a heartbreaking Zavala scene to top it all off.
Devotion, bravery, sacrifice. Devotion, bravery, sacrifice. I failed them all. I love you, Amanda. I am so proud of you. Forgive me.
All this mourning culminates in Crow wanting revenge, but when the finale comes, it's kinda lackluster. It feels like any other mission, and then the season's just over. So despite having some of the most interesting setup and possibilities I've felt from a season, I leave disappointed in the narrative and hoping they'll be able to pick the pieces back up for Season of the Deep. Gameplay-wise, this season made huge strides that I think were across-the-board improvements to the seasonal grind that burned out so many players in Plunder and Haunted. The new loot structure of just being showered in Defiant engrams felt so much better than Umworld focusing of the past, and I felt like the red border grind from the Battleground chests was much more common with this new key system. And the Battlegrounds themselves, those just keep improving every season. I enjoyed all three we were given. The weapons though, they're base skins looked cool, but personally I don't like the way they're shaded, and I just don't think any of them are must-have guns. Let me know in the comments down below if I'm missing something, because I'm just not feeling any of them. The Excalibur exotic mission though, once again, knocked it out of the park. Check out my video down below on it. Whatever team has been making these, keep letting them do their thing. All in all, I don't want to say this was a bad season. I think the game thrived in all sections other than narrative, but lots of times the narrative is what a season gets remembered for, so hopefully as long as they get things fixed, this will be remembered as the worst season in Lightfall. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.